Hello, everybody, and welcome to another show of Discover the Paranormal with All Out Paranormal. And as always, lovely Joy is with me. Yay! And lovely Kandi is with us.
Yay!
We have an amazing show tonight. I know I say that every week, but yeah, truly blessed on what's going to be our guest tonight. Absolutely. Look at, and I can talk forever, and I got a loss for words. And we're going to be doing a raffle at the end of the show. And see down there, when you are in the comment section, put hashtag All Out Paranormal, and you'll be automatically entered into the raffle. And what you'll be getting, I revamped our logo. And this is a print of the logo. I will sign it and send it to you. Whoever wins. I hope you enjoy it. But anyway, if you would, Dave, get us going with our guest.
Dr. Rebecca Foster is a clairvoyant medium with 37 years' experience. She passes on messages from God, spirit guides, and those passed over, including animals. She is a medical intuitive and also provides health information to people seeking more information for treatment needs. Dr. Foster is also a remote viewer and uses her abilities to walk through locations prior to arriving. She uses her gift, given by God, to bring comfort to people and to ease the pain of loss.
There she is.
Yes.
Hello. How are you?
Fantastic.
How about you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
Thank you for being here. Truly blessed to have you on the show. I'm
Oh my gosh. It's all good.
It's all good.
Are you stuck in the middle of this snowstorm that we're getting?
No, we were supposed to get it last night and a little bit this morning, and it all just turned to rain, which was fine.
You're lucky. You're lucky. We got dumped.
No, we're lucky. Yeah, you're correct. We did not. The only thing is letting dogs out. You know, they run around and then it's mud season.
Mud.
So
Yep.
it can freeze, and I'm happy with that, or just be dry.
Let's be spring and have green grass and 80 degrees and warm and sunny. Yeah.
That would be great.
Yes.
Consensus is in, right, Joy? We're all over winter?
Yeah, I'm beyond over winter.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah. Can't stand it.
Can you tell everybody, I know we just had that little intro, but can you tell us a little more about yourself?
Okay, so my gift, it's funny because everything I have, it says God's tool, God's reader. I express that I get my information from God, from spirit guides, and I'm very clear about what I do. Everything I do is because of him. It's for him. He works through me, and it's to bring people comfort and information and knowledge and guidance. And it's not frivolous. I don't like the word psychic because that denotes, 900 numbers or whatever else. And so I'm very serious about it. And it's everything that I do. It's my life. It's all I do. And one person once asked me, what is your purpose with this gift? What do you want to do with it? And I said, I want to save people. And he's like, how are you going to save them? Why? What kind of people are you going to save? And truly, my whole thing is I really want to help people who are at that point of like full defeat. Those that are dealing with addiction or suicide that they've dealt with, and then they're also considering. I want to deal with people who are curled up in a ball on the ground and find a way to provide them with some form of hope that I don't know you from Adam, but somebody just told you everything about yourself. And that shows people they're not alone. When you think you're alone, that's what I do with this gift. among other things, but that's my purpose.
She's giving me goosebumps, Rex.
I know it
We
exactly.
need more people like you because everybody, I know a lot of mediums and they want to use it for, and I'm going to get crucified for saying this, but they use it for that 5 minutes of fame. And
Right.
no.
It truly, if you are doing this right, you're not going to get rich from it. Because there's so much that I give away and so much that I do for free. And people, it'll be a Sunday afternoon, I'll be in the middle of getting dressed or just about to get in the shower, and someone will call, and I can hear that they really are at a point where they don't know what else to do. And that's the moment where it's okay, let's just talk. And I'm not asking everybody to pay. I'm not there is so much more, there's so many more important aspects of this gift. Now, there are people that they want to get their private readings, they call specifically, they schedule those things, and there's that little bit. But for the most part, I would much rather sit there and go, I feel like doing a gallery and just get on live and do a gallery on the internet, compared to, oh my God, I gotta go do a gallery. Because then it's a have to. Then it's like there's expectation, and I am not a person to live up to any expectations. So I would much rather just be free with it. I really wish that I was financially independent so that I would just be able to do this 100% like free of charge. I wish I could.
So you get better messages when you're not put under that pressure of...
No, it's not that. It's just that I'm the type of person that if I'm about to do something for you just because I want to surprise you, and then you ask me to do it, I'll be like, oh, I don't want to do it now. Or I'm just like that. And I know there's other people like that. Well, I'll be going to do something out of my heart, and then someone wants me to do it or asks me to do it. It doesn't matter if it's taking out the garbage. I'm just kind of, obstinate that way. So
I feel like I'm talking to my husband right now. He's the same way. Exact same way.
Yeah, I love just doing it. I love just doing it. So yeah.
And you do it with pets? I thought I read with animals.
Yep.
How do you do that?
I talk to living and passed over animals, and the fun part is if I was reading someone and they don't tell me that their dog is sitting next to them, the dog will start telling me things. And animals don't have a filter either. So they'll say like, oh my God, Bernice's feet really need to be taken care of. Or they'll say this person doesn't sleep enough, or they'll tell on their owners, they eat too much. Wow. Or I once had a dog confirm that their barking was not just to be a pain, that there was someone in the backyard. And so it was a big dog, but they were able to figure out they had a peeping Tom in the backyard because of the dog.
Wow.
Animals are funny. I always tell people, if you're going to commit murder, do not do it in front of an animal, because people like me can talk to animals, and animals divulge. They sing, no pun intended. So
that is awesome. That is awesome.
And like you were saying, my sons and I, when we started All Out Paranormal, we didn't get into it to make money, because I think that's wrong to charge for what we do. And
right.
I've never charged a penny for going out and helping people, and which I applaud you for that too, and commend you, because that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's the way it should be.
No, all investigations, like if I go out and somebody has a problem within their home, or they need help with a family member, I don't charge people for that. I just don't know how you would charge someone for that. To me, this is a desperate situation where they need help. I've had people this was an odd situation one time. I'll tell you guys this. I was coming out of the doctor's office with my son. He had just had a physical, And I was getting into the car, and this woman was parked right in front of me, and she jumped out of the car and she came running up, and she like stalked me and waited for me to come out of the doctor's office. And she said, I need you to help my sister-in-law. She's sitting in the car. I think she's possessed. And I was looking at her like, oh my God, I think you're right. So she says, there's issues at the house. Can you come over? This woman was full on demonic possession. And these are for me, these are fun situations because I'm able to actually not only go help someone, but I'm dealing with these entities. And I was in this investigation, and it was me and her son, I think her husband, and like 15 other people in the house. They all wanted to know what was going to happen. And I can hear this thing, and he's laughing at me, and he was like, do you want to play some games? So he went flying through the house, and I was running through chasing him, taking pictures. And I came back down, and I was looking for him, and he kind of came up from behind the couch next to her and smiled, and I snapped his picture. And I didn't go over anything. At that point, this woman kind of flails herself across the couch and is bent halfway backwards off the couch, and her eyes are rolled in the back of her head. And these like 15, 20 people in the room scream, run out. And the little boy is the only one. I'm like, I need my holy water right now. And this little 7-year-old, he just walks over and hands it to me. I'm like, how often do you deal with this? Like, you're not freaking out. And so I got home, went through all the pictures, and this thing that was coming up from behind her, I swear to you, it was the most evil face I've ever seen. And I sent it to her, and I said, you need to get out of the house. He's not going anywhere. And then I deleted the photo. It was so bad I couldn't even have it on my computer. I wish I'd have saved it, but I did not, alas.
Wow.
I don't know why I told you guys that story, but for some reason, I think maybe somebody was supposed to hear it.
Right.
Don't know
Somebody
why.
Washington's gonna be contacting you because they heard that story.
Yeah. I don't mind dealing with that stuff. I'm protected.
What's
I
your
don't
most
like it.
memorable experience?
My most memorable experience, meaning most terrifying, probably.
Let's go with terrifying. Yeah.
My most terrifying experience was at Ashmore Estates, and I love the place. It's like the motto is, some people call it home, and I do it. It's like a second home. I love Ashmore. And it was a kids' day weekend. Ashmore puts on these kids' days so children can come do their investigations. And I was doing a fundraiser. So Robin Terry is a friend who owns the building. And I said, great, you know what? Let's do a tiered thing. So when people get to this, they'll get this. When they get here, they'll get this. And he goes, okay, so when you get to 700, then you can sleep in Robin's Nest, which is on the second floor of the building. And I was like, yeah, it'll never reach 700. I gave too much power. So Robin made sure that we reached the 700 level. It went beyond that. It was pretty amazing. It was for lost limbs. So I'm there. I have 2 of my kids with me. It is the night before the kids' day. They have a public investigation. So everybody can come in and do their own open investigation. So second floor, my son and my daughter and I, it is May 3rd. The building is still wet and cold. It's dusty and dirty. It's been closed for the winter. And we get into this room. I set up all my cameras. And we try to go to sleep. But there was a gentleman that was there that kept screaming at me all night that I needed to get the F out of there. He was going to effing hurt us. And so all night long, I'm wide awake, making sure he doesn't hurt my kids. And then I felt like a really bad mom because I put my kids in this situation where they were susceptible now to this dude. Their stuffed animals kept getting thrown across the room. He turned off all of my camera. He was not nice. And so finally, about 4:00 in the morning, after this mental, let me back it up here. When you are doing this kind of work, when I'm doing this work, it's proven actually that your brain just starts using up so much sugar that your blood sugar will deplete. And so I had been using for like 6 or 7 hours this psychic ability to constantly keep a tab on this guy, but my blood sugar plummeted. So 4 o'clock in the morning, I thought, I got to go eat. I mean, just talking about it right now makes me sick, but wake the kids up. Let's go downstairs. I'm going to pee and we're going to get some food. And because I couldn't leave him alone. We get downstairs to the first floor. First floor, you come down, there's a small kitchen area and then a really long hall to the men's and women's kitchens. This is where a lot of people hang out. They forgot we were in the building and set the alarm. So the whole freaking alarm goes off in the building. We wake up everything in the building. I told my kids it was like Bird Box. Don't look down the hall. Keep your eyes on the ground right now. Because we were locked in the building. And the key for it, I don't even know. It was in the office or something. And if I had to get out for any reason, I had to go to the other end of through that hall to the other end of the building.
Oh, wow.
With my kids. So I'm really bad mom of the century. But we ate. I almost passed out. I got my butt to a Walmart. I drove I got a blood sticker to check my blood level. The people it was the most terrifying experience of my life. And then I drove an hour to a Dunkin' Donuts. I gave them breakfast and I slept in the car for like an hour. And I'm like, just listen to the movie. I was emotionally, psychically attacked and depleted for another week after that. It was exhausting. I never thought I would read again after it. It was horrifying, terrifying. And it wasn't just, I was fine with them. If I were alone, it may have been better, but it was worse because he kept threatening my kids. So, yeah. Then I found out that earlier in the day, someone who had been there went into this room. This was months later, mind you, that I was back. And this girl said, oh my gosh, you really have to hear this recording I caught the day of that event that you slept at Robin's Nest. And it was a guy on the recording saying, just get the F out of here, in the most sinister voice ever. And I was like, well, I wish you'd have shown me that ahead of time. I wouldn't have slept in the room with my kids. So that was my worst ever experience.
Which room is it upstairs?
It's the Robin's Nest. It is the room with the bed and the dressers. It's the one, it's like Robin fixed it all up and it's like created specifically for staying there.
Okay. Yep. I know the one you're talking about now.
Yeah. I went back after that and had it out with a guy, but that I even left the kids event. I was so distraught from it because it had so much control over me with my blood sugar and there was nothing I could do and I was locked in and it was just really, it was terrifying. It was the whole culmination of everything. I would do it again though. I would totally do it again without my kids. So, yeah.
Ashmore's a great location.
It is. It's one of the best. I've had some of the best experiences there. Played hide and seek with a little boy. He followed us home. I wish I had, I probably do. I wish I'd have pulled up this stuff thinking, I didn't even think about us talking about it, but some great full blast photos that look like people standing there right in front of you that are not people. And during the day, it's wonderful. During the day, it is children and women and a few gentlemen that work there. At night, it's different. At night, these people come in from the field still, and there's just darkness there at night, and it can be quite terrifying. Yeah. So that's what, I don't know. I love doing it. I wouldn't change it for anything. I do love working that and doing that and investigating, but it can be scary. I don't want to deal with something that is going to hurt me. And I always joke, I'm a medium. I might be able to hear him and talk to him, but I don't summon elephants. What am I going to do when it gets here? Why would I be that stupid? Alan has a story, Alan Cornelison, when we were investigating, this thing said, hey, one of you come here. And Alan goes, I'll go. No problem. So Alan heads down this ramp to the basement area, and this guy with blue jeans on and kind of a brown curly, like a permanent looking fro, and a blue shirt. He came around the corner, and I was like, dude, there's a dude standing right there. and Alan's like, I don't feel too good. And then I realized he had no eyes. Like, this thing had no eyes. It was black, just all black. And at that point, Alan came booking. Like, he came flying up the ramp, and he was speechless for a few minutes. This thing attempted to separate us on several occasions there, and it did it. It accomplished what it wanted to do at one point, with me at least. I don't know. It was pretty terrifying. Pretty terrifying. Really great place, though, too. So, yeah.
We had a question earlier from Derek. Did you meet the girl there?
Elva? So, Elva, the little girl that was burned, I met her one time. She's there all the time, but I don't know. She's not always present, at least. I was doing an online gallery, and my son was with me. Like I said, I just like going there. So the Booth brothers were there doing some filming for the weekend, and they left to go have dinner. So my son Bradley and I were hanging out, and I was doing my gallery on the second floor. At about 9:00, I started talking about my German Shepherd that had just had puppies. And I start talking about the puppies, and Elva, my son is in the end of the hall by the nurse's station, second floor. Yes, second floor. And I had to make sure I was correct. And he said that there's some walking around. So he's barreling down the hall. And then it sounded like a dog running around, or something wild running around in the room next to us. And I said, oh my God, I was just talking about the puppies. And now here's Elva showing up with some kind of an animal. And we both stood up, and I told everybody online, if anything comes flying out of that room, I thought, is it a raccoon, a wild animal? If anything comes flying out of there, y'all are going flying, because I'm not rabies. And, they're like, go in and check it out. I was like, you don't understand. It is something big running around in the room on several feet. It's not like a little person, but it was just as we had been talking about the dogs. She also, there's so many children there. I was up one time. I had just gotten there. It was the middle of the afternoon, and I was walking through like I always do, saying hello, and saying hi to everybody there. And I was talking, and I sat down on the steps, and I hear, mommy, where are you? And I never caught it. I wasn't paying any attention. And I got home, and I played it back, and I was bawling. I was just like, this poor little kid. I've been calling and saying, hi, I'm here. And then I completely ignored this little ghosty. And I was like, I have to shut up when I'm doing this. I just talk too much. I talk a lot. You'll figure that out.
That's a good thing. When did you first realize your gift
I
that
was
you received?
The earliest memory I have, I was 4, and my great grandfather had passed away. So I'd gotten home from, I mean, this is a vivid memory. It was traumatic. I had just gotten home from Montessori, 4 years old. My mom says, Bompa passed. I went upstairs, and I went to sleep. Well, I thought I'd fallen asleep, but I ended up in my grandmother's house, and I was standing in the living room, and I've told her, I'm like, I remember, Mom. And she's like, no, honey, you didn't go to their house when this happened. I'm like, yes, I did. And so I was standing in the living room, and I was looking out the front window, and the ambulance was there, and the paramedics were carrying him down on a stretcher. And he sat up, and he goes, where am I? Where are you taking me? And he got off the stretcher, and then he never left. Like, he stayed. So I got up and went to their house. They lived right in our backyard. So I ran over to their house, and there's Bompa sitting in the chair like he always sat. And I'm like, Bompa's not dead, guys. He's right here. And nobody believed me. Not a soul. They all thought I was just traumatized by him dying. But he was there for years. It is still haunted. There's him, my great grandmother. They're all still there. But nobody believed me. That was the first time I ever really remember. Um, Really cool story, kind of off the paranormal and more onto the elemental, the cryptid aspect. But when I was little, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we had a cottage in Michigan, and I can't wait. I'm actually gonna go buy this cottage in April. I can't wait to
Awesome.
go. Yeah, I'm gonna go maybe knock on the door and be like, "Hello." So, I was terrified of the place because it was also spooked, and so I wouldn't sleep upstairs. My parents would let me sleep in the living room, and our neighbors had a huge spotlight on their house that used to shine down the hill to the beach. And my parents would open the curtains so that I would have the nightlight, and I had trolls like this big. There was like, I don't know, 10 or 12 of them every night, and they would go in and out through the glass, and they would dance and flip over one another, and they would do that until I fell asleep, and we would just sit and play, and they would just keep me company until I'd sleep. And then they stopped showing up. The last time I was there, they weren't there. I was almost 9, and they were not there that time. They stopped showing up. They're still around now, but in that particular location, they stopped showing up.
Maybe once you buy it, maybe you'll go back and they'll be there again dancing for you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm just going to go and see if the people don't think I'm totally insane to just show up there. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I was very clear on it. I didn't like that. I was scared of the house. I was always afraid of it, but it was spookier than bejesus. So, but I can't wait to go take a drive by and be nosy.
That's great.
I know I have to whip out a business card. I always do that. I'm like, I'm really not crazy. This is who I am. This is why I'm here. I'd like to come in your house. I've done it. I've done it before, so I'll do it again.
That's great.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it. Kathy had a question for you. Did your parents understand why you didn't want to go upstairs?
Yeah, I told them that I was terrified. I was scared of the house. It was so scary. And it had a weird, like, cottagey smell to it as well.
Hmm.
And then it was my family and another family that owned the property. So they would go up and share it, and we like split it for summer and winter. And they left it a wreck. Every time we would come, we'd have to clean. And it had these really creepy, ugh, closets that when you'd open it, it would go way back into the rafters. And then there would be windows on the end. It was really a terrifying place. And it was just, I don't know. It was very scary. Very scary. But you know what? Driving there, I was raised around this stuff. I was just raised around it. I have 3 brothers, and my father was kind of like, he liked to scare us. I mean, I grew up on James Whitcomb Riley poems, and the goblins will get you every freaking night. If you've never heard it, it's a pretty amazing story called Little Orphan Annie. You want to read it out loud to your children for sure, right before bedtime. And so there was this house, the Boxsteads, and every time we went to the cottage, the Boxsteads' house was caving in and crashing in more and more. And we used to get out and go walk through this forlorn, abandoned house. And every time we were there, my father would tell me the same story. So Mr. Boxstead's son died, and then the wife got upset, and then she hung herself, and then he hung himself, all right here. So we're walking through, I'm like 6, 5, walking through this house going, oh, and then I'm connecting with all of these things. So I think I associate the property there as well with terror, fear.
Mhm.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a question from Phoenix. Do your parents believe you now, or do they still question you?
Oh no, no, no. Everybody who knows me personally, they all know it's real. They all trust it now. But nobody knew. It's funny now. People will say, it's so funny. I would be like, somebody would say something, and I'm like, Becky, crazy Becky? No, she doesn't do that. And I think in the back of my head, I'm always thinking, gosh, everybody really just thought I was nuts. Like, people thought I was crazy growing up. And when you have a child telling you that someone is at the end of the bed, or they're seeing angels, or they're seeing ghosts or demons, don't ignore that. Don't blow it off. Don't tell them that they're not seeing these things, because then what that does is it tells them that all of their senses are wrong and they cannot trust them. So at a very young age, you learn that I can't believe what I'm seeing, hearing, or feeling, expressing nothing, because it's all apparently a lie. So I grew up with this feeling like I was a nutbag going to hell. At a very young age, I turned to drinking, I turned to drugs, I just turned to any way. I was bound and determined to just get out of this world. And nobody knew. Not a soul knew that I was going through it. They just my mom, actually, when I was 16, she took me to a psychiatrist, and I was pretty much a really bad kid. And you can imagine why. So she takes me to this psych, and he goes, "Well, to start off, we're going to give her this test, 500 question test. So if anybody else that knows what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about." And some of the questions were, do you see dead people? Yes. Do you believe in the devil? Yes. Do you see ghosts? Yes. Do you talk to ghosts? Yeah. I mean, I answered it honestly. And after I got the test back, he goes, I just want you to know that either your daughter, in front of me, either your daughter lied on the whole test, or she's 100% crazy. That's what he said in front of me. I'm like, let me just take the test again.
Oh,
Do you see ghosts? Nope. Do you talk to ghosts? Nope. Do you see the devil? Nope. And I looked at my mom and I said, if you ever bring me back again here, you will never see me again. I'm not doing this. And I told her what I was going to start reading people, and I was going to, I was helping people, and this is what I was going to do with my life. And she goes, what? No. What are you going to do? Lie to all these people? Are you just going to tell them all these lies? But now everybody knows me, believes me. They all understand it, unless they don't want to hear it, and then I'm wrong. so, it was, I think to myself, gosh, if I would have listened to my family, if I would have listened to all of the people who told me I was either making it up, or I was fake, or I was lying, or I shouldn't be doing this, I think there are so many people that I know that have come back and said that you've helped, or you've saved, or you've done it, you've made a difference. And I think if I didn't take this pathway, the devil would have won 100%, because he tried to take me out for so long so that I wouldn't do this work. And that's why I started calling myself God's tool for the website, because I felt like that's why he tried for the first quarter of my life to just make sure I didn't do this work, because so many people, and I'm not saying that I'm the magical person here. I just basically resign everything that I say and do and think, and I allow spirit to work through me. And that's the ultimate, that's the passion right there. That is definitely, so I always, if you're gonna, I always tell people, if you feel so bad that you think that leaving this world is the only way out, that means you're onto something. It means you are about to achieve something in your life so great that the devil wants to take you out. Because if he takes you out, that means maybe another 5, 6, 10, 20 other people will also be taken out, because you won't be there to help them. So when you're in your darkest moment, just go to bed. Just go to bed. Go to sleep.
sounds
Don't.
like the George Bailey effect.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly. It is. It's and speaking of which, it's my most favorite movie, because
Love
it's
that movie.
exactly
Yeah.
the truth. And if you ever feel like you're just curled up and defeated, just go to sleep. Don't even talk to anybody. Just put some headphones on and go to sleep, and wait for the next day, and it'll get better. But
Do you
yeah.
mentor and help young, I shouldn't even say young, defining it, but younger people, teenagers that are having their awakenings, getting these gifts and don't know how to deal it? If they're watching and see you and can relate,
Yeah.
how do they get a hold of you?
Everybody can, you know what? It's so easy to get a hold of me. I'm pretty much everywhere. So if you go to godstool.com, people can contact me there. On Facebook, it's /God's Reader. I'm on the stupid social media every single day. And you know what? It's simply because I know I have to see what people are needing and what they want. I literally hate social media. It's so toxic. Excuse me. But It's a means to be able to reach people. So children, of course, little people. Sometimes I actually just worked with a family who said that their daughter, their granddaughter at the time, her granddaughter was autistic and was being tormented by something. So I went to the house and come to find out she's not autistic at all by any means. And this dark, shadowy dude, he just was tormenting the hell out of her. And I when I go into houses like that, I don't want those things to know I can hear them or see them. I want them to continually do what they do. And if I acknowledge them, they'll hide. So I just go in like nonchalant, boop, boop, boop. I'm standing there. This little 3-year-old is sitting there cutting some green peppers with her father. And this black thing comes up, and they said she cried a lot.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden she starts going, and they were thinking that she's autistic. And then this thing has the most, I can't even explain the cackling laugh that I actually recorded the whole thing. And he laughs at her, and she's going, ah, and she's growling. And I'm going, you all have to understand that every time he is around in her face, she growls and she whines. She's not autistic. This is a little girl that's tormented. So then they said that their other granddaughter grew up in the house, and she's now in a home because she has lost her mind. And I'm like, where is she? Because I need to go speak to this poor child, because none of y'all trusted and none of y'all listened to her when she was tormented. A lot of times adults are like, go to bed. It's nothing. Just go to bed. But it is.
Mhm.
And people have to take the time to listen to kids. My kids, the same thing. If they saw something, I'd be like, where? Because I'm not seeing it. So that's not good. And they'll tell me this is what I'm seeing or who I'm seeing or what's going on. And just allowing children to actually speak up about it, it's a gift. It is something everyone is born with. But because some adults are so terrified of what's going on, or it's against the religion, it's not against the religion. It's just against Christianity, because it is in all other religions. It's just a part of other religions. And you don't go to hell for doing God's work or seeing things that are there. And that's what people need to understand. If your child is seeing something, nobody's in trouble. Allow them to explain who and what they're seeing. Big time.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah,
Rex.
I had, I was checking private chat there. What was the turning point in your life? Because you went down the path of drugs and alcohol. What was the turning point in your life that took you from that road down to a path of
Right.
light? Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the way you stated it is perfect, because I'm pretty sure that the reason that God put me through everything that he did was for me to understand the depths of darkness, so that I would appreciate the expanse of light that was possible. So I would have respect for both levels. And I was 13 years old. I had opened myself up to all the dark things. I had renounced God. I had told him I hated him. I was angry. I was very, very angry at him. And I was vocal, told him how much I hated him, didn't want anything to do with him. How could he allow this to happen? I'm 13 years old. I had opened myself to all darkness. And I was creating my own Ouija boards, and I had them all over the walls, and I put all my energy into them. I had a dollhouse. I am answering your question. I just
No, that's
elaborate so
Very
much.
good.
That's great.
I had a dollhouse my father had made for me, and the attic I made into a seance room, and I created another little Ouija board and all the books and the pentagrams, and I put them all up in this room. And I'm pretty sure I just summoned every dark entity that you could possibly imagine. And so this thing was coming for me, and anybody would enter my room and they'd be poked or prodded. He used to open my windows on me, and it became really terrifying. And I realized I was going to hell. And I got on my knees and I just said, Father God, I was bawling and scared. And I said, I see what I've done. And I know I apologized for everything. I did everything I could. And I said, at that moment, I will serve you for the rest of my life. Just please don't send me to hell. I will do whatever you tell me to do. And it was at that moment that I just decided that God was the only way. And from that point on is when all of a sudden it was odd. People, well, it didn't help that I had an older brother. He used to hang out at Denny's, like that was his place. So I would find him at Denny's and I'd sit down and he'd go, dude, he was always like a little high. He'd be like, guys, come over and sit at the table, man. Let my sister read for you. So it was me and my brother and his friend Acid Andy, who actually had a metal plate in his head from doing so much acid. Really good people, good people. And this is where I had started reading, was for people who really needed to be read. And then they started coming back, or how do I get a hold of her? And so it was just a little round table in the beginning. It was like a circus act. And then it just grew and grew, and it became my life's purpose. So that's that. And I mean, my faith is huge. I don't go and do any work without acknowledging spirit. And I say my prayers of protection, and I bring guardian angels in, and I just do everything I can because, people like me, I'm not standing, and I tell this to people all the time who are servants of God and they don't realize it. How can I? I'm a sinner. Oh, girl, God, I'm the biggest sinner you ever gonna find. Okay, I also speak French fluently, so I always look up at God. That was a joke. It's like, sorry for the French.
No, it's good. You're good. I liked it.
No, it's because people are like, "Oh, you speak French," and like, not really. Just like say
4-letter words. Yeah.
right. So I tell people, God does not, if you're a believer in God and if you're a believer in spirit, you're going to go to church and you're going to listen to the pastor. If you are angry at God, if you are upset, if maybe you've never known him, you're not going to church right away. You're mad at him. Why would you go sit and listen to somebody? No, you're going to sit down on a park bench or at a bar or wherever, and he is going to work through this person sitting next to you, and this person is going to minister to you without you knowing it. And that's why I try to acknowledge people. If you're perfect, why would people come to you for anything? Why would someone come to you for help if you can't have compassion or acknowledge them or walked in their shoes ever? And so he takes people who are downtrodden, who've been through it, and he works through them. And the more you acknowledge him working through you, the more he uses you. So you don't have to stand up in a pulpit. You don't have to be in a church to minister or to work for him. And although I am able to see and do all of these things, my biggest passion is really helping people to just find their way and to live and to be happy and to awaken and experience life to its fullest. It's amazing. Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Right. Amen.
Yeah. And because I'm a man of faith, I have been all my life. My Lord is my Savior, and I've never, worn it on my sleeve. Everybody knows. And it's funny going and doing different things. Either I'm speaking or in an expo or something. I always have somebody come up and go, how can you be a man of faith? This is the devil's work. And my answer is simple. I look at him and go, have you read the Bible? And they go, of course. I said, in the Bible, it says we walk in a spirit-filled world. And it says it more than once.
Yep.
And it usually right there, it's like, okay, yeah. So we're going to take a short intermission right now, and we'll be back in just a minute. Stay tuned, everybody. back. Yay! Let's bring her back up.
There she is.
There she is.
I was just
Lena.
actually reading a comment. Yeah, Lena Moreno. Absolutely. I saw that and I thought, yes, I'm telling you, whenever somebody comes and says, I'm having anxiety or panic attacks, I'm experiencing this, the first thing I do, because I'm a medical empath as well. So I look at them and think, okay, do we have actual mental health issues happening here? Is it a chemical issue physically? Or is it a spiritual aspect? Because there's this, spiritual, mental, physical. And if they actually need psychological care, then I'm going to tell them that this is the case, that maybe that. But if it is a spiritual warfare that's being done on them, I will let them know you got stuff around you. And the thing about it is when you have, and any of you that are in paranormal understand this, when you have a spiritual attachment, something that is feeding off of you, it can make you feel anxious. It can give you the shakes. It can give you a panic attack. It can, lower your blood sugar. It'll feel like you're ready to pass out. And what I tell people to do in circumstances of panic and anxiety is to look, what you need to do is stop. I don't care if you're in a Walmart or all of a sudden just sitting in there in your living room reading a book and you're stricken with this. You stop and you ask yourself, did I eat? Okay, yes. If not, go get some sugar and some protein. Give yourself a few minutes, drink some water, and see if it subsides. This is a means of control, and it will get rid of the panic once you realize you are in control of it. So you recognize, okay, yes, let's say, yes, I've eaten. Looking around, am I being like visually attacked right now? No. All right. And I tell people, by breaking it down and looking at this, they're able to then ask themselves, is this a threat that I am physically needing to run from? If it's no, what I'll tell people to do, and this is what I do as well, because I had that. And once I realized what it was, I was able to tell, you know what I say? I don't have time for you today. Kiss the feet of Jesus and get away from me. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I will oust them just by saying that. And once you say that and you make sure you're not going down with low blood sugar, make sure that you know that you're safe and in a secure place. If you're still having panic and the shakes, you tell it to get away from you. Kiss the feet of Jesus. Take that power back. And also realize this. People who suffer from panic attacks, the first thing you notice is your heart's about to pound out of your chest and all you want to do is get up and run out of your skin. In that same moment, tell yourself, my heart is doing what it's supposed to do. Right now, I feel like I need to flee, but my heart is pumping because it's trying to help me to do that. It's doing its job. If you climb a flight of steps and you get to the top and your heart's going ba-doom, 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 my heart is doing what it's doing because I exerted myself. It's physically, people become very hyper aware of what their body is doing. And to be able to reassure yourself like, oh, I'm good. If it's an attachment, tell it to go to hell. You don't have time for it. Even ask Archangel Michael to come and to cut all attachments. And it helps as well. Yeah.
She's been having them 4 or 5 times a week lately.
For you?
No, the comment.
Oh, the
she was
comment.
answering you back. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, so this is your daughter, a teenager is having them for 4 or 5 times a week lately. If she's been told that she has clairvoyant abilities and she's having these experiences, that means that her light switch is on all the time. It means that she is walking around like a beacon and these energies are going, oh, is that heaven? I don't know. Let's go try and find out. No, I'm not heaven. Get the hell away from me. I'm just a person with a bright light. Don't attach to me. You do not have the right to attach to me. I never gave you permission to attach to me. And when I also, this might help her as well. So when she gets up in the morning, she brushes her teeth, whatever, she goes into her closet, empty hanger on the closet. She takes the hanger, on the hanger is a beautiful, full-size, flaming outfit in purple. What was that? Somebody just breathe into the.
It just sounded like a growl or something.
Wait,
Did you
who
hear
did
it
that?
too?
Yeah.
Well, to tell
What?
you, that's the second time it's happened.
Yeah. It happened when you were talking earlier about God and taking control.
Did you
And
hear that? And this is
it's
recorded,
really
so I wonder
muffled.
if somebody can play it back at some point and see what it just said, because it was just like
I'm
into the.
telling you, me and Alan are in the background with our headphones, and I'm like, did anybody else hear that? And he's like, yes, I've caught it twice. We've
Yep.
actually seen something go past behind you, behind your green screen, just a minute ago before we heard the.
Yes. Okay. So I'm talking about this, and this is what they're just finding me. And that's just the way it is. Usually they make themselves very clear and, but it's all good. So he's just it's just the dude that's in my house, and that's okay.
Dave, I'm sorry. Do you see what's scrolling at the bottom of the screen? It's Max's giveaway, not ours tonight. It's not hashtag monsters are real. Fix that.
I'm glad you mentioned about eating, because I had heard that if you eat fruit, so now we don't go to an investigation without fruit. So when the hubby does his psychic thing, he's got the fruit, because if he doesn't have the fruit, forget it. He's out of energy for like a week.
Yep. It's the blood sugar. If you take your blood sugar before you do any kind of mediumship or clairvoyant work, and then you take it after that, you'll find it will have depleted maybe 6 or 7 points. It's pretty amazing.
Oh, wow.
Pretty amazing. So what were we talking about before? So okay. Oh, the violet outfit. Okay, so tell your daughter to take this flaming violet outfit off of the hanger, unzip it, and then actually pretend like she's stepping into it, put her arms into it, put the hoodie over, and then zip all the way from the crotch all the way up over her head, and then stand there and look, and flames everywhere. This is a protective suit. And then after she puts that on, a giant light switch. Take the switch and turn it off. And what I want her to do at that point is to close her eyes and repeat to herself that she's not on, and then whatever she's wearing, this is, or picks up, she might pick up a barrette. So she's holding the barrette. Okay, I can feel it. It's metal. It clicks. It's got a line. So she's describing with her fingers, not her eyes or what she knows about the barrette. She's seeing it with her fingers. This will reground her. It will help her to turn off her abilities. And the more she practices this, the more she will have control over if she's floating or if she's active or if she's off. Because I don't walk around doing that all day. I turn it off and I'm just going about my business. There's no, it's exhausting. That's probably why she's having panic attacks. She's always on. Yeah.
So we had another question. How do you feel about a medium calling upon the archangels, but not giving thanks to them?
I would always thank them. I would always, any kind of spiritual help. Your guides are like your best friends. Your celestial guides, spirit guides, the archangels, they're your guides for this lifetime. The archangels, they are present in all of the different lives we have. The specific guides that we have for this life are learning with us as well. And the more you get to know them or listen to their prompts, pennies, feathers, dimes, 111, 222, 1111, 311, 511, 444. They will speak to you all day long. Look that stuff up. Start learning their language. The more you pay attention to them, the more they will give you. And then, hey, you gave me a front row parking place. Thanks, guys. My kids know, okay? They know when we're driving somewhere, can we please have a front row? Thank you. And we get there, we have front row, boop, first slot. They're all screaming, thank you. They run for pennies on the floor. I saw that one first. That was from my angels. So acknowledging any celestial help you get. Gosh darn it, where'd I leave my keys? Oh, that's right. Thank you. I don't do anything without thanking my angels, ever. Never, never, never. Because they are always planting seeds. They are always helping us. They are always inspiring us. There are Jiminy Crickets. They are always connected to us and constantly saying thank you and appreciating. And I question too, but I don't ask questions out loud to them. If I need something answered, I'll do it telepathically, because truly only God knows what's in your heart. And if you are questioning something and you get the answer, you'll know where it's coming from. That's why when I do readings, I don't allow questions until the very end when I'm done, for that very reason.
Mm-hmm.
Tina has a question. So you're saying an outfit or your God is what protects?
God is. However, by putting on the violet flame, that violet color, violet is definitely a spiritual color anyway. And all of the high priests, look it up biblically, they always wore purple, eggplant, violet to help protect them. And so this is a visualization of realization of when they put this on, it is the fire of God. It's cleansed by Christ, the Christ fire. And by putting this on, it's helping you to realize that you're walking around with spirit all the time, because most people don't associate the knowledge that, okay, let me put it this way. Another way to look at it is this. We have a physical ability to be able to see, hear, speak. All of these things are physical of the body and there are of our brain. But if being like we're electrical, we can have staticky hair, we can shock people, our heart, everything within our body works from an electrical pulse. So that soul aspect of us that shines, that white soul, I always tell people, just picture it like a giant rod, like a big battery. This is your spirit. This is what God connects to. And it's put inside of us. It helps charge everything. It helps us to see and connect with spirit. And when you commune with God, or when you go to Yahweh and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to talk, it's a recharge. You're recharging that battery. The more you connect it, the more you're fed. And we are electrical bodies. And you just have to understand that God is in each and every one of us. So because this is coming next. So then why do people do bad things? Because of free will. That's why. Because free will. And it's just like my kids. If I tell my children what to do right and how to do right and how to be polite and have manners and what's wrong and blah, 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 they know right from wrong. But if they go out and do something stupid or illegal, that's on them, because they chose the path that was put in front of them. They made that decision. I am not, you know what, I did my best. And so people have to understand also the relationships we have with spirit, they are very much mimicked. They mimic our relationships with our parents and our children alike. And a lot of people don't even think of it that way. I mean, our God's pretty awesome, and he wants us to do our best.
Amen. I was going to say something now. I get lost in what you're talking about. Then when I have a question, I'm like,
Hi, Julianne. I see Julianne on there. Julianne is pretty awesome. Julianne. She's here. She's a longtime follower.
And I've been talking back and forth, and I'm going and seeing all the private chat, and that ticker that was running across the bottom for the other show wasn't even in anywhere, and all of a sudden it starts going across the bottom of the screen. It should have never been there. So there's a lot of stuff I'm going to look at after this is all over and go through it, because it's just been amazing. And I thought it would go this way because of us believing in God and talking about God and his love and his power and everything else. The devil's always working against you 24/7. So
yes. Yep.
This has got to be just phenomenal, because I can't wait to go back and go
Listen
through it
and see.
I like it. Alan's saying it's time to come on and play the flute.
Yeah. Do you want to? Alan, would you come up and play the flute? No, he goes.
Okay. So you know what? Hence Alan and his little fluty duty. Okay. Did he tell? All right. So that was what I was going to tell you before about being separated from him. we had finished an investigation, and I went to my car to bring stuff out to the car, and I come back in and there's no Alan. I'm like, Alan, where are you? And no Alan. And I look down in the basement where that guy had come through earlier that evening prior. And I was like, what are you doing in the basement? And I thought, oh, he must be down there doing some flute work or some shaman stuff or trying to clear the energy. And I was like, okay, here I come. So I go down in the basement and I'm walking around. I'm like, Alan, where are you? And I'm walking in all the way into the back, into the really bad places. And I'm yelling, and he goes, Rebecca. And I said, where are you? And he goes, I'm right here. I said, where? He goes, I'm up here. And I'm like, what do you mean you're up here? He goes, I'm upstairs. I was like, no, I heard you. I heard you down here moving around. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Alan. I hightailed it out of that basement so fast because I thought, how stupid am I? I was tricked. This thing thought it was hilarious that it got me into the basement by myself. And I'm like, oh my God. Alan's like, Rebecca, that wasn't me. I wasn't downstairs. So it was terrifying. Yeah.
Have you ever seen your guardian angel?
Yes. I've seen one. When I was 15 or 16, I was doing a meditation, and I can't, the first time, let me clarify this. The first time I saw his face come across, he said his name. I freaked out, and I was meditating, and I jumped up, and I thought, oh my gosh, I just saw his face. I just heard his name. And I thought I would remember it. And I should have written his name down. It was long and difficult. And I'll never, it started with like with a K. That's all I remember. I wish I'd have written it down though. But when I meditate now, my guides will show up immediately. They'll come across and they'll kind of hover in front of me. And it's funny because you'd think angels, most of the time they're like a crystalline color. There's no color to them, and they're hard to decipher gender. They're very neutral in that respect. They really don't have a gender. We don't have genders. If you take this meat sack off, you're genderless. You're just energy, and that's what our angels are. And so their faces, they present so that I recognize them, of course. But other than that, they're just energy. They're pretty cool. Yeah. Love it.
Say
Meditation.
hi to
Just
Ruth
meditate.
right quick. Ruth Albee she just said hi Rex, and I was just recognizing her there.
Oh.
So tell us about
Please,
investigating the YMCA.
What?
Yeah, that was what I was saying with Alan. That was
Can we bring Alan up and you two can
Oh yeah.
go over it?
You think I can
Okay.
talk. I got
There
nothing
you
on
go.
it.
I know.
What's that supposed to mean? You're saying I can talk too much?
I thought I'm fine with that. I didn't have to say a word. I'm good. I just kind of, yeah, it was very amazing.
It was an extremely amazing night. And I want to let everybody know that's watching right now, if you ever have the opportunity to investigate with Dr. Rebecca Foster, jump on it, because you will have an amazing night full of amazing activity with amazing captures. And I can't say enough about this amazing woman.
Thank you.
Crazy night at the YMCA. I don't even begin to know where to start with that investigation. It started with me alone, and doors were banging around upstairs, and I was doing a live with my phone, and people could hear these like nice just knocking of doors, and it was just out of the clear blue. And then later, of course, Rebecca and I had said it was some kind of a vodka can. It was hooch. And I set a vibration sensor up and a couple of items from Ghost Gear. And we were having all kinds of activity with that. In fact, at one point, Rebecca says, it's going to happen. It's going to happen any moment now. And sure enough, the vibration sensor went off. She was picking up on stuff far before the devices that I was using, that I count on a regular basis in my investigations. She was picking up on these devices before they were activating. So she is the real deal, folks. You know, if you ever want to have an amazing, oh my God, it was one. Yeah, I'm talking too much. You're right.
No, you tell the story. I've been talking. I'm good.
You know, and it was so funny because I was like picking up my equipment.
Are you guys doing
And-
that? It's like,
No,
What in the
Dave's
world?
not doing it either.
You know, I've been keeping track of this, and at 29 minutes and some odd seconds, there was some weird stuff that went on. We'll go over that later. But anyway, yeah, we're talking about this haunted YMCA and crazy things are going on. We during that night that me and Rebecca were there was something there that was actually trying to separate us constantly, and she was talking about going down the ramp. And I said to her, I says, Rebecca, there's something standing right here. And she was using an SLS camera. And she says, I know, I see it. And in fact, we had some of Ghost Gear's equipment going. It was this device here. It's
oh, I love that
called
one.
the ultrasonic motion sensor. And it was shining, down the aisle, and it was going off like crazy. And pretty soon it just went quiet. And Rebecca says, you know what? I think this thing's dead. Well, I reviewed the tape later, you know, because I recorded everything. And as she says, well, this thing's dead, something drained the batteries on it, you hear a very maniacal giggle.
Laugh.
And it was just like, yeah, that was me. And all that night was that kind of stuff going on. We had doorbells. The front door was locked. Earlier in the evening, we had a delivery we had some dinner delivered to us. And Rebecca actually heard the doorbell ring when the guy walked into the building. And we got our food. And then, of course, after he left, we locked the front door.
Mhm.
And this was the first time it tried to separate us. She says, my God, she says, the doorbell's going off. And I could hear it. And so we both go into the front area of the YMCA there, kind of the reception area where the front doors were. We checked the doors and they were locked. But the only way that doorbell could go off was to open that door.
Yep.
And we were completely sealed in. And that was only the first door instance. There was another door instance, something trying to open a door. And you'll have to go and watch the Paranormal Nation episode. It's the first episode on the Paranormal Nation page of me and Rebecca talking about this investigation. And when she says that door was closed, I know, she was like lost for words. And then after that, it was, yes, it was. You know, it was just clear as a bell. I mean,
Yeah,
the whole
and that
night
same
was,
spot was that woman, and she
Yep.
was like, "Do you need any light?" And I'm like, "What? Okay."
yeah,
It's
it was
bad.
it was amazing. You know, it was
I have
just,
no idea what it's doing.
and the camera's going in and out again, and yeah, it's time to play the flute.
It does not like it.
Man,
It's not liking it.
Dave's over there holding his head, shaking his head, and he's like, wow, I have no idea.
For those of you watching, what Rex is referring to, our producer, is behind the scenes and he's holding up his hands so we know these glitches are not happening because he's not touching his computer at all.
This
Yeah,
is,
you know, these
Oh, I'm
things
sorry, go
happen with electronic technology. I've talked
I'm
to
gonna need therapy.
you got to investigate with us sometime. You things really get crazy.
Yeah, that was great. That was we were actually there was so much that happened there that night, but
A lot.
I don't know what I've actually dreamt of that place so many times since we've left. It's been crazy. But we were walking down, I saw somebody and I said, let's go this way. And then I said, I heard something. It was a door. And we got up to go check, and all of a sudden we turn, and this guy standing here goes, "It's right here." And I went, "Oh, it's right here." And we stop, and it's all caught on everything, on video and everything. This guy is like, "It's right here." So we opened this storage locker, and I swear it was like Silence of the Lambs. It was terrifying, like floor to ceiling, old things. And what we were told was the person who owned that locker had he just died, or the woman had just died?
Yeah, just passed away. Yeah. Like just like a week earlier.
Yeah. So crazy, but it was fabulous. It is definitely
the cool thing was she caught it on her phone. She was recording. That was the only live stream that we had was her phone, and I was using my cameras just to document the investigation. And unfortunately, we didn't have that camera running, but we did have her phone, and we listened to it. We listened back at it, and there it was. You could hear, and it was just we actually recreated the sound.
Yep.
By opening the door. It was the same exact sound that we had heard just moments before. And again, you got to understand that it was constant activity there that night. There wasn't hardly a minute when there wasn't something going on. And if you ever, and this place is so underrated, nobody really goes to the haunted YMCA in Rock Island, Illinois. And I don't know why. I think because they see it as being a furniture store, one on the bottom, the bottom half. But I'll tell you what, you get down to the basement area where the boiler room is and where the swimming pool is or was, it's a maze down in there.
Fourth floor is crazy.
Well, we were actually on this, I think the 7th floor or 2nd floor, right, Rebecca? When we set up kind of in that room.
That's crazy. I think the whole building's crazy.
Well, it was, and there really wasn't a time that we didn't have some amazing activity. As we walked into, and of course I caught it on video, but we walked back into the 2nd floor. There's this orb, or what appears to be an orb, that moves past the lens. And I told Rebecca that I was going to go to the other end of the hall where it came from. Of course, I didn't know it was there. And I wanted to do the hair and the shave cut thing, on the walls, because I'd done that once before. And I did it for about, 3 minutes. And Rebecca says, "You know what? I think you should go to the other end." She said, I just feel like you should go down there. And so I said, okay, fine. And that's where that orbit went. That, of course, I didn't find it until later when I, did the editing of the video. So I go down there. And I said, "You know what? I'm going to knock at this door." And I'm explaining to Rebecca, this is the elevator shaft. There's been some bad things happening here. And I knock at this door, and I think I said something along the lines of, if anybody here, communicate with me. And I had a ghost meter, and it starts going off, and like immediately. And did you hear that? That's who's doing the Slurpee?
I just cleared my throat.
Okay, maybe right. Anyway, so I asked, I says, if there's something here, make this beat faster. And it did. I said, go faster. And it did. I said, go even faster. And it did. And I finally had to step back. And I thought, I told Rebecca, I said, "I'm going to go in one more time." And she goes, okay. Be careful. And so I went back in and I said, "If you're here, make this device go off one more time for me." And it started beeping real slow. And I said, "Make it go faster." And it went a little, and it was just like repeated itself all over again. I said, "You know what? It's time to get the hell out of here." And we did. I don't know what was going on there. Rebecca was calm about the whole thing. I was like freaking out. I was going, I don't know what's here, but the last time I was there in that elevator shaft, something was just beating on the side.
What in the heck?
I don't know.
Dave isn't doing anything.
It's time to play the flute.
I understand. I have StreamYard. I know that you have to do all that. Something is doing that.
Yeah. I'm talking.
I'm gonna break in here. I want to talk about the stuff that has happened because we got 15 minutes left. I'm gonna put you back in the green room here, Alan.
That's fine.
Dave, come up. So, like I said, and I'm going to quote Alan here, amazing.
No kidding.
Amazing. The first one was at 29 minutes, did you say?
Yep, right around there. Yep. And then there's at least one more that I caught, and then there was literally something shadowed in front of her at one time and something that shadowed quickly behind her. Like you could, even though she's got the green screen, you can literally see the movement from one side of the screen to the other.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm sitting here watching it, and all of a sudden I'm watching comments and all my banners are going crazy. And then I'm in banners because they're different spots that you have to click in the program to produce it. And all of a sudden my comments are going nuts. And I'm like, oh my God. It's a good thing our code of conduct is no alcohol, or I'd have a box of wine and an IV right now.
Do you know what? I always joke with people and tell them if I don't have technological glitches, it's not my podcast. It's fake. It's not, so anytime I do this, I have so many things in my home as it is. I guess I've just grown accustomed to them and I ignore everything. And I don't know if they're connecting with you guys and your whole system. I don't know. Maybe you've got your own stuff that they're connecting with, but there's always stuff here.
It's all Alan's pointing at himself. It's his fault, he says.
Crazy noises. It could be.
Rebecca, oh, I'm sorry. Did you notice when you were talking at one point where you all got muffled? Did you hear that?
I didn't hear myself at all. I talk too much. So
no.
Yeah, you were the only one.
Yeah, you got all muffled, and it was like you were talking in a rain barrel, and it was, I don't know, probably 3-4 minutes before it came back out of it again.
And as soon as she stopped talking about following God and doing God's work, then it went right back to normal.
Yep.
Well, there's just been a lot of stuff going on the whole time. That's why I'm kind of like, okay. And I just blow it off. I usually
everybody knows it's Dr. Pepper, okay?
And this is tea. I have been drinking tea the whole time. I'm good.
Water.
And Rex will tell you, me and Rex literally live 3 blocks away. He knows I don't have a paranormal bone in my body. Like, yeah, I'm not necessarily afraid of it. It's just I respect it to stay away from it because I don't understand it. And I know not to meddle with it. So when it's happening to me and my first instinct is to leave it the heck alone and get out of there. I don't have a choice. I'm stuck right here right now.
No, and respect is a big deal. Yep, for them. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, that was weird.
And I told everybody at the beginning of the show. Oh, what we miss? I told everybody at the beginning of the show how amazing this was going to be.
She was talking about the first comment right before that was, I totally rely on my angels that God bless me to be able to know they're always with me. And then this was the follow-up comment to it.
Possible. I'm assuming maybe that there are people that needed to hear some of the things we were talking about. And again, I'll be doing a reading on the phone and my lines I'll be talking to someone about something important and boop, we are cut off completely. And it'll happen sometimes 4 or 5 times in a reading. And I just tell them it's because they don't want me talking to you. They don't want me telling you any of this because you're at a point where they're winning. And so there's obviously things we were discussing tonight that people are here listening to, and they don't want this stuff in anybody's head.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So I take that as a good sign.
I
They're
do
messing
too.
with your feed.
I had this feeling that before the show even started that something was going to happen and make this even more credible. I mean, for what is happening, it's just it's a blessing. Absolutely. It's
definitely.
And I'm never lost for words. I'm not stammering over myself.
That's funny. That's right. Amen, Julian. Amen.
Yes. Everybody, quick comment in the comments. Hashtag all out paranormal. I've got one of my prints that I'll be signing and giving away. And please smash that heart button up there as many times as you can. Share us out to everybody. And it's because everybody needs to see this episode. And I'm going to ask you right now, you will come back, right? To our show?
Me? Gosh, yes. I'm sure. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Because there's got to be a second, third, fourth, and fifth chapter to this. So
Probably.
Alan wants to know,
Alan-
can he come up and play his flute for us to calm things back down?
yeah, we've got time. Absolutely. Bring him up. Let him play his flute.
You know, I do this usually at the end of an investigation, and things are really weird. And I ain't saying that it's paranormal. I'm that guy that I'm on the fence all the time. Is it or isn't it? You know, but what I like to do is, and I just make a beautiful sound with this, and I try to appease whatever, you know, put in a positive energy into the space. You know, there've been some weird things going on that I can't figure out. So bear with me. It's real short. I just play whatever comes to mind. I just play what's in my heart. And I think it's important that we do that and try to just calm the situation down because things are getting a little weird. So anyway, here I go.
Thank you very much.
Just like that.
That's good.
Oh, man. We got 7 minutes left, which
That just puts the goosebumps on you, don't it? It does me every time I do it.
oh my gosh. Oh, it's been, I'm going to do Alan again. It's been an amazing show. Absolutely amazing. And I want to thank you again so much for being with us, Rebecca.
Thank you for having me. Are you kidding? No, it's seriously, it's fun. It's all good.
Yes, it has been fun and a complete blessing to have you here.
Oh, no,
And
thank you for having me.
absolutely. I will be getting in contact with you more. You'll probably get tired of me going, are you a stalker? Knock it off.
And I'm going to get in touch with you to see if we can't set up an investigation at the YMCA with you. Would you go back?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I'm going back. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And Alan, you'll be there too, right?
Yeah. I'm going back
I'll set something up.
for sure. I would like to bring along, you know, what I like to do actually is to bring along some very brave people to maybe investigate with Rebecca and I at some point, and not a lot of people because, you know, I'm going to contaminate it with all kinds of sounds and things,
Right.
you know, and I think they will be so impressed with this place. It has so much to offer. If there is anything dark there, which I don't think there is a lot of, it's what other people have brought in. I am convinced of that. I was there about 4 years ago for the first time, and I had some really cool interactions with something. And now that something has gotten kind of dark in a sense, and that needs to be cleansed out of there because this is a remarkable place. If you just want to experience the paranormal, it's great. It's a wonderful place, but the darkness stuff has got to go. I mean, it just got to go.
It depends, Dion.
We got
I'll
just
set
a few
something up
minutes
and
left.
get in touch with you.
I'm
What?
sorry, Kate, what?
So I'm going to set something up and get everybody here on the screen in together. That'd
Sounds
be a
like a
good
deal.
night.
Fantastic. If you would, again, Rebecca, tell everybody where they can find you, get a hold of you, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, the easiest place is my website. It's godstool.com, and Facebook / God's Reader are two means of reaching me. So if you just Google like my name, Dr. Rebecca Foster, clairvoyant medium, everything crops up. So it's pretty easy peasy. And I respond all day. I don't even have a time limit, like an office limit. So I'm always on, I think, with it. So
Fantastic.
yeah.
That's another great thing that you're replying to it, and I try, but yeah, I have no excuse. I don't.
It's all good. I say that all too much. I say interesting, fascinating, wow, it's all good, and the F bomb way too much. Those 4 things. I didn't tonight though. I didn't swear.
It's and if you would have, it's my network, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Come on, you got to get at least one in there. You got to break the
Oh,
ice the right way.
I have to say shitballs or something like that.
There you go. Yeah,
I
yeah.
swore.
Whatever
There
the
we
hell
go.
you want, you know.
I just did. I did say hell earlier, so yeah.
yes, this has been a fantastic show. I want to thank you again, over and over again.
No,
I
that's
want
it's good.
to thank all the people that have tuned in and watched. You still have a couple minutes if you still want to get in, and in the comments, hashtag All Out Paranormal. I will be giving away one of my prints, which is, I'll show you at the end. It's, if you look up in the right hand corner of right now, that is my drawing. I revamped our logo. It's a cross with wings.
It's cool.
I will be giving that away at the end here and signing it and sending it off. So, yeah, this has been amazing.
I know, right?
You want to go ahead and do the drawing right quick, Dave? Please? And here we go.
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Wow. It's our lucky night.
Yeah, no doubt. Fantastic. I just need time. I just need your address, and I will send it off to you, and be more than happy to. That's the first time you've ever done that. That's kind of cool.
Love that. That's very cool. Is that on StreamYard? Can you just do that with StreamYard?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, health bells. There we go. Try that
Yep.
sometime.
Well, we're coming to the end, and I'm going to end it as I usually do. Thank you so much. You've been a blessing being on the show with us. You'll
you.
definitely be back.
Mm-hmm.
I promise. And everybody's congratulating Phoenix here. So I'm going to end the show like I always do. Peace. Everybody, please be safe. And we love you.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.